All right, Sean, we got Peloton Interactive. Looks like it's at 990 today. It's up 3%. What are your thoughts on this one? It's a subscription uh, stationary bike. You ever been to spin class? You go to spin class, don't you?
Yeah, but I've never done a Peloton.
No, you think you're pretty good at spin or what?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, you can
Depends
last
on.
the 50 minutes.
Yeah, I can last the whole class.
Yeah, hiking the where you're you got you're standing on the bike.
Yeah.
You can do that. That's the way to go. I actually never been on a Peloton either. I actually I've been on these. I've been on some of them. I've been on a stationary bike with like it's interactive, but
Oh
it was
yeah,
just
those. But
pre-recorded.
not a Peloton
Now
in
where it's like
particular.
my own, and they're talking to me and they're cheering me on from wherever the heck they are. Like no, I could barely when I'm working out, I could barely stand the actual person. I mean, sometimes we have some good trainers, but sometimes we don't, and they're just like walking around, just barking at you, telling you to get off your seat and do all that. And that's something I just don't like. But hey, there's people out there that have Pelotons and love Pelotons. Um, it's an expensive bike.
Yeah, and they made a lot of money at first. Of course, this is the ultimate pandemic play. I mean, they made a ton of money.
Yeah,
Uh, but they sold the bikes that they're gonna sell,
yeah. It was.
and then what do you sell after that?
I think people were financing them, so it's kind of like financing a car almost. I mean, some of them were over 3,000.
Okay, so they're making some interest revenue from that.
They could be, or they should be if they're not.
Subscription fees. At
But
this point, nobody's buying Pelotons though.
no, and originally it's a rich person's bike. I want to say, or middle class or higher middle class. You don't see people. Well, you don't see lower middle class buying this bike. There's
And, well,
just
and the only time anyone would have wanted to buy one, there weren't any available. You know, people
yeah,
bought them up just overnight because they couldn't go to the gym anymore.
yeah.
People needed a
Yeah, so
workout,
yeah, exactly. I know they're having problems with that.
so they just announced that they're going to need more time to file their annual reports with the Securities Exchange Commission.
Oh, that's a bit of bad news, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't hear that very often from these companies, but it looks like what happened was they implemented some cutting measures. They're selling some warehouses and reducing inventory, and it looks like their auditors are going to require additional time because they have to do what's called impairment testing
Yeah,
on their long term assets. Essentially, the change in value has triggered an event where they have to go in and the SEC requires them to determine what the actual value of these assets are because clearly Pelotons are not worth what they used to be.
yeah. It used to be. I mean, it was up to 162 on December of 20th, 2020. That's from that to $9. It's a steep drop.
Yeah.
You're talking almost 20 times as much as the actual worth of the company now. So it's crazy. So from being worth 50 billion or whatever
Yeah, it's going to be
to 3
interesting
billion.
what their balance sheet looks like. I mean, where the hit's going to come from is the equity. I mean,
Yeah,
the fact that we're here already, but it's not going to get better.
I mean, and
So,
you trust that the higher ups. I mean, I saw that they're laying off a bunch of personnel.
yeah, they're
And we've
selling
worked
these.
in companies, and I think anybody that's worked in company, and is it really downsizing because they're trying to be smart, or is it downsizing because hey, we can't really afford you?
Yeah, right sizing.
Yeah, exactly. And the people that should be downsized are probably the people at the top. So, but yeah, it's
A lot of people made a lot of money off Peloton. It's a pandemic play. You can't think of a more of a pandemic play than Peloton. And here we are, almost 3 years post. And
yeah, definitely. I mean, if you would have bought it when COVID hit back on March, it was actually even when it dipped, it was at $20. From 20 to 160. You're the smartest guy in the world. And if you held, well, if you know how you feel. So yeah, if you had $1,000, would you buy or sell? Dump $1,000 on this stock.
no, definitely not.
Definitely not even taking the risk. Like, no, no, no way it gets back to 160.
No. I mean, I don't know. I'm curious what they're going to do. If they're going to be able to even stay in business. What's the impairment testing going to result from their assets? How much are they going to be able to cut costs? I mean, it could be that their auditors won't even sign the financial statements
No,
because they
no,
don't think it's, so we don't know what's going on, and we don't know until they report it, and they're not reporting. So
no. That's why, and I think people don't like that. And I think people get turned off about that. You can blame your employees. You can blame supposed overstaffed, which again, I highly disagree with that.
yeah, it says the company reported a loss of more than 1.2 billion in the most recent
Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah, so it's like
They're
yeah,
losing $4 billion a year almost
yeah,
at that rate.
yeah. And where's that money going, right? Where is that money going? So is it the executives taking a cut? Maybe I don't know, but yeah, no, this is one of those where we're gonna again follow. Hopefully, it's around to follow, but we'll see.